Okay, Amy Fox here in our Fat Loss Secrets for Busy Professionals Facebook group. We are a part of Work in Progress Texas. And I am here on live today because I'm talking about a little bit of, I guess I'm giving some tough love to people in the group here. We obviously have a challenge going on right now, the Gut Reset Challenge. It's called Trust Your Gut Challenge. And obviously the experience that everyone's having is definitely different. Everyone's experiencing something different. So it's getting to the point in the challenge. And I think in, the fact that we're in September, we're almost, October is right around the corner here. And it's, to me, as the year starts to wrap up, it's a way to kind of reflect on, basically what has your year produced? What have you done? What have you accomplished? Like I kind of sometimes use my birthday year more so as opposed to the new year. But here's the thing. Today's live is called What Do You Want? And it makes me think of the Notebook scene where he's like, what do you want? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, what do you want? She's like, it's not that simple. And it's one of those things where it's like, what do you want? When do you draw the line in the sand and say, my health is important and I'm going to take action to make some changes? I am going to take ownership of my choices. I am going to no longer put myself last, which is really what women in particular are known for too. We serve everybody before we serve ourselves sometimes, and guys can be like that too. And I know this summer, for example, like I let stress get a hold of me. I drank too much and I started putting everybody else first. And I had to draw the line in the sand and be like, nope, it's time to stop putting yourself off to the side or stop treating yourself so crappy. And what happens is obviously in a challenge like this where we have some restriction, we obviously our rules are no alcohol, no sugars or desserts or candy, no gluten and or dairy or both, and then obviously reading your labels. And that was to create awareness around some of these more inflammatory foods. And yes, there is a little bit of restriction that's involved right now because we're doing an elimination plan where you're cutting out things. And even though that's not necessarily always the style, we're creating a little bit of discomfort that's creating a fracture in your day. And it's hard and it's challenging and it's hard. And there are days where some of y'all have had to really push through to hit those goals. We had about 30 plus applicants that signed up for this challenge. Half of the people participated and only about a third of the people have continued on a regular basis doing those daily tasks. That's what happens, right? We create a fracture in your day, in your life, and then not everybody lasts. And that's just the way it is. That's why it's a little healthy competition. That's why there's a prize at the end for the person who really, showed up and gave it their all. And I think that's what happens when we start to make changes in our health and our life. Things get thrown at us. In fact, I had a client call this week, and that's exactly what happened. What do you think she did? She finally reached out and asked for help. She finally got coaching. She finally invested in herself and said, I'm tired of doing all of this stuff. I've been doing all of this stuff for so long. In fact, I would love to know how many of you all have been trying to lose weight. Have you been trying to lose weight for years? Have you been trying to lose weight for a month? Most of the time, most of us have been trying to lose weight for a long period of time. And then you put some discomfort for a couple of months and people quit and they give up because our body and our mind and our spirit are naturally resistant to change. It's just human nature. I would come from the faith side of it saying like, it's the enemy bringing you down because they don't want you to be who you truly are meant to be. And if you're weak and tired, you can't do things that are good. You can't do things that are good for other people. And that's what happened to her. She's 4 weeks into one-on-one coaching, making health changes, creating this foundation. And what do you think happened to her? She got smacked in the face with life and had to figure out, how do I not just throw in the towel and quit? And what do I do to keep going? And that's where a coach helps you with that roadmap. It's like, okay, let's get back to the basics. What's important here? Stress management, sleep, hydration. Let's focus on the basics. When things get better, okay, let's add some more walking in, some more movement, some more steps. And okay, let's get 30 grams of protein at every single meal spread throughout the day. Like these little things that we kind of manage and make sure that, you don't feel overwhelmed or that you have to do 7 million things at once. But it's like, when do you get to a point where you take your health seriously enough to make changes and to get uncomfortable? You know, eating in a calorie deficit when you're not used to it is really, really hard. Eating more food when you're not used to it is really, really hard. Getting in training sessions or resistance training at first can be really, really hard. Adding in steps or walking when it's sunny outside or cold or rainy is uncomfortable. But it's like, what do you have to do to get closer to your goals? Not something that's so unrealistic that you can't, you know, sustain it for the rest of your life. It's about finding what you can sustain. But some of the things that we have to do in order to lose weight, build muscle, or whatever, is create some discipline, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And so when are you going to look in the mirror and say, I'm done just flaking on myself. I'm done looking in the mirror and being unhappy with what I see. I'm done. And then you have to acknowledge that there's going to be trials and tribulations along the way, because life is going to say, okay, sure, go ahead and resist that dessert. Let's see what happens. I'm going to make sure dessert is on every single commercial that you watch or every single ad that you see. And all of a sudden, the stuff that you're trying to resist or change is going to fight you back in the face in some way. And it's up to you to say no. It's up to you to be like, I'm not going to keep living like this. I'm going to make a change. It's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to ask the husband, please, can you watch the kids for a second so I can get a workout in? I'll do the same for you for whatever you have to do. Single mamas, ooh, I give you plenty of love. There are so many people in so many different circumstances. And I know it's super cliche to say we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Yes, the whatever. But the truth of the matter is people who become millionaires have the same amount of time in the day that I do. So, I mean, obviously they're doing something right to become a millionaire. Same thing with like losing weight. It's really, really hard. In fact, I think there's some kind of statistic out there that's like, it's easier to get six-pack abs, or no, it's easier to become a millionaire than to get like six-pack abs or something like that. Like, that's how challenging it is. And our society and our culture is just pushing everything against us for this journey that you're on. And so that's where you look to a coach and support, and figuring out, when do you draw the line in the sand and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to live like this anymore. This short-term pleasure of eating too much and drinking too much, or not doing this or not doing that, is affecting my life long term. That's the thing. These short-term pleasures where we give up on something, or we drink too much, or we eat too much, or we eat too little, or whatever, pile up and add up after a period of time, and then result in this long period of time. It always baffles me. And believe me, I'm speaking to myself here. This is not like I've got it all figured out. It's basically, you know, the fact is that we have to, sorry, I saw someone's message, and it always gives me, I have like serious ADD when it comes to like distractions. I hate that. I hate distractions. I need to cover that up. See, and now I've lost my train of thought here. I was like on a roll or whatever, and I see a little distraction. I should turn off notifications. But I think what I'm just trying to get across is that sometimes we spend so long trying to fight through something, trying to resist, or always being in a calorie deficit, or always trying to lose weight. And then we go like a month of limitation or restriction or something like that, and we want to quit so fast. And again, it's just human nature. It's just nature to fight against these new habits that you're trying to instill in your life. The whole thing is that you're never going to be perfect. You're always going to be working towards something. And the beautiful thing is, like, when you get to your goals with fat loss, for example, the goals get to change. Now it's about maintaining. Now it's about maybe going and doing some kind of CrossFit competition or some kind of challenge, or maybe you want to run a 5K or something like that. You know, then it can be fun because you're not having to always be in the dieting mentality constantly, right? You get to a point where you start to appreciate and be thankful for what you have. And then you can move on to something else and free your mind, like free your mind. The rest will follow. And that's what my mission is. My mission is, like, I want to help women in particular break free of this chain of restriction and diet culture, which I hate the word diet culture, but best way to say it. And be able to live their lives. That's truly what the mission is. And it's really about, it's up to you. It's really up to you, because hiring a coach or signing up for a challenge or signing up for a program doesn't mean diddly squat if you don't show up and do the work. And that's sometimes like, that's hard, tough love to have to say. But in a group setting like this is my opportunity to be straight with you and be like, what do you want? What do you want in your health journey? What are you fighting for? How can we help? How can we help you fight? Because I can't do it alone either. I need support. I need help. Just because I do this for a living doesn't mean that I have all the answers, that I'm perfect. Our whole name is Work in Progress Texas, because it's work in progress. We're all a work in progress. We're not looking for 100% perfection in everything. And that's where we find success long-term. So I'm not trying to make this a long rant. It really is a matter of taking ownership and stop making excuses and identifying where you need help, where you need support, and what do you need to do differently. And I can give you the basics right now. Eat food from nature, stay hydrated, do some resistance training, get as much walking in as you can. When did sitting around all day become super, super normal? It's the desk job poison. It's the driving for hours and hours for a job, you know. Try to get enough protein in. I mean, protein, water, good sleep, walking, resistance training, and committing to it and knowing that it's going to take longer than you like. It's going to take longer than you think. In fact, that's why it's been hard for us to even give guarantees to clients, because it's really about like, I can build the roadmap for you, but if you don't do any of the work, what? You know, first off, it'll always be my fault. So I'll take that, right? It's always my fault. It's my fault. I'll take it. But ultimately, when are you going to show up for yourself? When are you going to stop with the excuses and do this? And what is it going to take? And then just know, how can we help? Message me, ask us questions, reach out to us if you need something. But hopefully this challenge, for those of you who have really stuck it out and have continued on throughout the whole process, are learning some things about yourself and learning where you need to draw the line in the sand and resist saying no. It's like, why can we do that with kids? Like, hey, you need to go to bed on time, or hey, you need to finish your vegetables before you eat your dessert or whatever. And it's like, why don't we have the same rules? Or maybe the rules have changed since I was a kid, but you know, that's really, you know, I don't know if I said everything that I wanted to say, because I went on my walk before this and just kind of practiced through what I wanted to say, but I really feel like it was like a tough love moment. It's like, we're in the final stretch of the challenge. We are hitting up the holiday season. It's like, are you going to let another 3 months of the year be a wash, or are you going to take action for the rest of the year and build good habits that lead you into the new year, so that you're not making up for it in January? Like, stop wasting time. Life is too short. We could get hit by a car tomorrow. We could have a natural disaster. Something could happen to you. You don't know when your days are up. So don't waste it. Don't waste the time staying stuck in yourself and upset about your body. It's like, okay, I am able, I am capable, I can do this. No more sacrifice of like what I want. It's going to be sacrifice for, like, it's not the sacrifice, that's not the right word. It's like, no more like shortchanging yourself. It's about discipline and creating boundaries and saying no, and being okay to say no to people, like saying no to too many events, asking for help, seeking help when you need it. You know, that's just really what it comes down to. So that's the tough love that I wanted to give you all tonight. And you can let me know if this cheered you up, if this pissed you off, if you have some feedback, or if you wanted to comment and say, I'm drawing a line in the sand and I'm not gonna let this take over my life anymore. I'm gonna win. Then let's go win. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm really proud of you guys. I will see you in the group. Message me if you need me. I'll talk to you later.